Welcome back to the show, everyone, for episode 150, a special episode today, and I cannot be more thankful and happy that we are here. Again, first of all, I start off the show by saying thank you for all your continued support of the show. Again, would not be possible without you tuning in every single week. I know there's a little background noise, so I apologize for that, but um, again, every week been tuning in for the past 150 shows for a little over 3 years now, and we got a great show in store for you today. Again, we'll try as you get to hear me talk about how to tell that Easter is not pagan. This is from a show from a listener on Facebook. She asked for us to do it, so I said, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of, it's gonna be on the list, but we're finally getting around to it as we wrap up the Easter season here in 2024. And so we'll have a few articles in that. Again, down in the show notes, you can find them all in the description box below if you'd like to read them more in detail. Because again, I do not read the whole articles. I just kind of go over the stuff that really stuck out to me, or that sticks out to me is what I read. So again, all the full articles are down in the show notes below. Um, and I got everything all lined up here, and so yeah. Also, speaker or show topic requests, buying merchandise, information about sponsorship, partnership, um, donations, DM us on social media. Also, email us at the official email, Catholic Table Talk Podcast, CatholicT@gmail.com. Again, it's Catholic with two T's at gmail.com, the official email of Catholic Table Talk Podcast. Say that fast. And then don't forget to like, share, subscribe, rate the show. It helps us reach more people that way as well. And hit the notification button so you never miss a week's show, which is kind of easy to do. If you miss one, you miss two. You miss two, you miss three. You miss three, well, then you need to sit back on your podcast things for quite a bit. So anyway, how to tell that I was at Easter is not pagan. I'm trying to say two words at one time. It doesn't work like that. So again, like I said, we're wrapping up the Easter season here in 2024. And Easter is actually longer than Lent. Easter is 50 days, Lent is 40 days. So you think Lent is so hard, right? Because you're giving stuff up. You're doing more stuff. You're spending more time with God every day. You're doing this, you're doing that. You think Lent is so exhausting. Well, imagine again, you do Exodus and maybe 590. Maybe you do more during the Easter season, which is 50 days. Again, Easter is longer than Lent, and it's rejoicing, while Lent is more suffering, I should say, in that form. I expect, at least that's what a lot of people think of Lent. So I got a few articles from Tam Nash. This one just came out. Easter is not a secretly pagan holiday. Easter, as a translation from the pagan goddess Ishtar, has no basis in reality. Tom Nash, great guy. It is common for skeptics of Christianity to claim that the word Easter comes from the name of a pagan deity called Ishtar, suggesting that the Christian faith has pagan roots. But no matter how prevalent this contention has become, it has no basis in history or reality. In Jeremiah chapter 44, verses 15 to 17 states, "The people of Judah reject the prophet Jeremiah's message and preface to their idolatrous worship of the entity called the Queen of Heaven." Apparently, the pagan deity Ishtar. Commentators seem to be in general agreement that Jeremiah's Queen of Heaven is Ashtar or Ashtar. Again, sorry for the words, but Ashtar is the subject, which is the Greek Old Testament. Literally, Ashtar means the moon. The moon was a Sidonian idol worshipped by the Pelicians and worshipped as Ishtar by the Assyrians, Egyptians, and Babylonians. In nature worship, the sun and the moon were considered the king and queen. respectfully of the cleanses heavens. Which again, apparently why isn't set every day? It must be a god or whatever, because it's the sun and the moon. Some people have inferred that Easter is a English devotion of the Greek Easter, but there is no liturgical or historical basis for this. In addition, the English word Easter is said to have received from the Anglo-Saxon pagan goddess named Extra. This theory was based on an incorrect conclusion by Saint Ben the Venerable about the Hellenistic origins of the English month that coincides with spring and the celebration of Easter. Astronometh, but as Anthony McRoy, a fellow of the British Society for Middle East Studies, notes, there is no historical basis for this diversion. He notes that St. Bede himself said his conclusion was based on his interpretation rather than a generally held position of proven fact, so that's just kind of his own thought. Also, there is no doubt that the focus of Easter from before St. Bede and English Christians in general was and is Jesus, the Passover lamb who died on our behalf and rose from the dead. Indeed, in most European countries, the name for Easter derives from the Greek word Paschal, which itself is derived from the Hebrew Pascha. The word Passover, thus the term Paschal sacrifice, refers to Jesus, one sacrifice, and Paschal candle is another name for the Easter candle. So where did the English get their word for the celebration of Christ's resurrection? McCoy notes that there are two main theories, both of which are, persuadable or possible. One theory is for the origin of the name, that is Latin phrase is Abliss in white, which Christians in Abliss in white, which Christians use in reference for Easter week, found its way into Old High German as Easterum or dawn. The other is that the Ethelmama simply meant the month opening, which is comparable to the meaning of April in Latin. The names of both the sexual and Latin months, which are canonically similar, were related to spring, the season when the buds open. In either case, the claim that English celebration is rooted in pagan goddess worship simply has no historical basis, even if some anti-Catholics have gotten a good deal of mileage out of it. Again, sorry for the big words, that's probably an article you can go back and look at. But again, no historical evidence. And again, this is the same thing with Christmas, right? Yes, there is a Satanic who bought toys to the poor and everything to kids, but look, the face of Santa Claus now on Christmas has really gotten a pagan hold on it, and other things, candy and everything else. So again, there's pagan roots there, but there's no pagan roots for the word Easter. So where did how the Easter Bunny and colorful ages were originating in from ancient spring traditions? Easter is a time when Christians celebrate the resurrection of Christ, but a few aspects of the holiday are linked to ancient traditions from religions outside Christianity. That's what we're getting into. Traditions with Christian and pagan roots. For Christians, Easter has always been about celebrating the central miracle of Christ's death and resurrection, said Andrew Hong, the head of historians team at English Heritage, a heritage organization covering England within the United Kingdom. Wow, that's a lot. Hong knowing that while Easter has been an important date in the Christian calendar since the earliest days of Christianity, origins of certain aspects of the holiday are quite complex. Yeah, no kidding. What we now know that is Easter has a lot of pagan origins. He said, so it comes forth from a lot of traditions that are much older than Christianity itself. Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. I mean, it's like it was basically Christian. I mean, a lot of people don't believe in God, but yeah. So, yeah. Okay, the pagan. We're going to talk about Halloween. So yeah. So now we kind of get. This is the one I kind of want to get into is why we hunt Easter eggs. Eggs have played a starring role in Easter due to the ancient association with fidelity and new life. According to Hahn, eggs have been associated with Easter from the very early days of Christianity. Christians in the Middle East would dye the hard shell items around the period of Easter and then give them as gifts. So it's yeah. I mean that's what you do, especially when as you become parents and grandparents. You hide your eggs and you let your kids and grandkids in it. For the kids or grandkids, I think it's it kind of if you don't really tell them the true meaning of Easter and everything, I think that's what Easter always is. How the Yule log evolved from the ancient Viking ritual. This practice was adapted by some of the Orthodox churches in Eastern Europe and washed through the Middle East, and then that passed through the Western churches as well, he said. Within the Western church, the practice of hunting for eggs came to be when the first known egg hunt was hosted by centuries ago by Protestant reformer Martin Luther. Huh. That's where it came from. From that good guy. Yeah. And I was gonna bring this up later, but this is a good something to have during the show and at the end of the show. It's kind of my main point of the show. How to tell that Easter is not pagan. I mean, and again, if your kid or if your grandkid thinks it's all about just the eggs every single morning, the same thing with the Christmas. If they only think it's about the Christmas gifts underneath the tree every morning, that's it. Well, that's not truly accurate. And again, you're always going to have people who, kind of like we talked about last week with the Ark of the Covenant, there's always going to be different people who have claims of where this came from, where that came from. There's always going to be people who, kind of out in the war again, who don't believe, I should say, like they don't believe, or they have a hard time believing it, like, for example, Christianity, or the Catholic Church is the one true church. You see it with what I just said, Martin Luther. You're always gonna have people who doubt. That's the word. You're always gonna have people who doubt. So, people will ask, well, how can you know? I mean, Easter is all about Christianity. Well, there's some pagan stuff in it too. Well, yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of people who doubt probably Easter and Christmas because that's just what's going to happen. You saw it from the Protestant Reformation, from the Protestant reformer himself, Martin Luther. Again, you're always going to have people who doubt things. You're going to have people who doubt, again, what the Ark of the Covenant is. You're going to have people who doubt just daily things in everyday life. That's just part of it. But the thing is to show them the facts and describe the facts. And again, some people will come along to it, some people won't. But you're always going to have people who just don't believe in it. So again, I mean, the first known egg hunt was hosted but centuries ago by Protestant reformer Martin Luther. So again, he's taking a Christian holiday and he's turning it into pagan. It's kind of like, what we've been seeing with just all these other stuff happening today. You're seeing stuff fall on holidays, and you say, oh, this is, LGBTQ day, or this is this and this day, this is this day. Well, it's all this, it's like it's a Christian holiday, so it's a Christian. So let's add on to it. Let's make it better. It's 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 sacred. It's again. How can you tell it's not pagan? It's because the facts. You can trace it back to what actually happened first Easter morning, same with the first Christmas morning. Yeah, the wise men brought gifts. But I didn't see. I didn't see. I didn't see Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene or anyone looking for eggs on Easter Sunday morning saying, "Hey, Jesus rose from the dead. He left us some eggs. Let us find him." That's what happened. So continuing on here quickly, we're running short on time. Within the Western Church, are talking about that. According to Hahn, Luther organized egg huts for his congregation, which men were set to hide eggs and then women and children were set to find them. This was supposed to be a nod to the story of the resurrection because, obviously, after the tomb was surrounded by women, he said, Luther, was trying to draw attention to the role of women, in particular, and trying to find what happened to Jesus after the birth and after he had risen from the dead. True, but again, you're not like looking. I mean, they're looking, but they were like, searching. Jesus created Mary Magdalene in the garden, and he appeared to the disciples on the road. They weren't like, I don't think, at least from my take on it, they weren't actually searching the garden or anything, or they were more, I think, shocked of like, okay, where is he? They're not like actually. That's just my thought, but. So again, quickly, the origins of the Easter Bunny. Much like Easter eggs, the tradition of the Easter Bunny is centuries old, and one that is tied to rabbits and hares being ancient symbols of fidelity. Rabbits and hares are associated with fidelity, particularly in the spring, a time of year when life returns after a long cold winter. A return of life that is linked to the resurrection. According to Hahn, the earliest known reference to the Easter Bunny was actually an Easter hare. The reference is found in a 1682 book by German George Frick von Wittgenfeld, who links hares and rabbits with Christianity. He talks about older tradition in Central Europe that this is coming from the hares associated with fidelity and the Virgin Mary. Holly says sometimes you see the paintings of the Virgin Mary and you see a hare at one side of her. Yet, eventually, the tradition involving Easter hares and eggs came together. In 17th century, German Hahn said a strong tradition at the time involved an Easter hare known as the Ostra. The Ostra delivered eggs to children who exhibit the best behavior. So, that is probably the more pagan side of it. You might think, Easter eggs, okay, maybe, okay. Might give Luther that one, maybe. And then the hare, but again, delivering Easter eggs, okay, that seems a little pagan. So yeah, in America, however, the Easter hare experienced a bit of a makeover and was replaced by a color alternative, the Easter Bunny. Compared to hares and bunnies, which are young rabbits, of course, are generally smaller and with short ears and short hind legs. Then, in the 12th century, Hahn said that the Easter Bunny was imported from America back to Europe. So, it comes full circle, So again, make of that as you wish. So, with one short time, like I said, I'm not going to get to every single one. Last one we'll do is from another John Sorsang. No, Easter is not a pagan holiday. There's a popular image on social media about Easter and Easter. Let's put this bad argument to rest. There's a popular image that makes its rounds on social media every year, claiming that the Christian celebration of Easter finds its roots in the more ancient celebration of the Germanic goddess Ishtar, also known as Ishtar. The text is graphic, reads as follows: "This is Ishtar, pronounced Easter. Easter was originally the celebration of Ishtar, The Assyrian, the Babylonian goddess of fertility and sex. The symbols like the egg and the bunny were all and still are fertility and sex symbols. Or did you actually think eggs and bunnies had anything to do with the resurrection? After Constantine decided to Christianize the empire, Easter was changed to represent Jesus. But its roots, Easter, which is how you pronounce Ishtar, is all about celebrating fertility and sex. Oh, that's a mouthful. How you use his case on that one. St. Paul tells us in 1 Thessalonians, test everything, hold fast to what is good. When it comes to this, Ishtar claim, Joe writes, we can conceive a situation where culturally practices are baptized but retaining certain elements while letting problematic ones go. If that were the case with Easter, it wouldn't be a big deal, just as it is a big deal when we find it elsewhere. If the original custom was about celebrating, sex and fertility, it is certainly not about that anymore. It's about the resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. Any Catholic will tell you that. So you could simply dismiss claims like these when you encounter them and not worry much about whether they are true or not. Because, again, that's our faith. That's what we believe. That's, if you're doubting that, you are kind of doubting the faith. But some Christian neo-pagans and atheists will use arguments like this. From the viral graphic, Albert is slightly modified ways and for different reasons as a stick to beat Catholics as we near our most important celebration of the year. I don't like being beaten with sticks, especially when I know that my assailants are on a shaky ground. The truth is that historians know jack squat about Ishtar. The only primary source we have is in the entire historical record comes from St. Bernard, like we talked about, in Catholic Mark. And you can read that too. So again, there's not a lot on Ishtar. I mean, it's just something that, throw out there and see if it sticks, and it kind of stuck for a lot of people, and like I said, you have doubters, and that's what kind of stuff. So, the fact that we know virtually nothing about Ishtar, or even if there was such a goddess at all, makes the jump from Hor to the Babylonian deity Ishtar even more perplexing. Some neo-pagans attempt to make the connection through the Ishmaelity of the words. Ishtar likely comes from the Old English word Ishtar, which is refers to springtime or the dawn. From the perspective, proponents of the Ishtar theory must cobble together bits and pieces of the other goddess of the dawn. Which, yeah, it isn't making sense to you. I mean, you should probably read it, but it's not really making sense to me. It's like a mind twister, It's just not really making sense. It just seems dumb. It should be noted that the Christian celebration of the resurrection of Jesus is called Easter only by English-speaking Christians. The rest of the world calls it Pascha or something like that. Which, like you said, Passover, which is a Paschal lamb, the Passover lamb. And finally, what good anti-Catholic conspiracy theory doesn't involve the Roman Empire or Constantine? Although it has been said that Constantine did much to allow the Christian religion to flourish, it stretched to claim he decided to Christianize the empire, altering the celebration of Easter to represent the resurrection of Jesus. Constantine called for the council at Nicaea to settle the area of controversy while it was convened. The Council Fathers also settled the debate over when to celebrate Easter. The feast was already being celebrated at that time. The dispute was only about what day it should fall on. That's the extent of the connection. There is a great lesson in apologetics in all this. Whenever you are confronted with claims that some element of Catholic customs or practice were borrowed from ancient pagan religions, you can rest easily knowing that most of these are based on speculation or data or scholarship. If you run across this popular image on social media these restrictions, and please feel free to use the graphic below as a response. And I show it there. So again, going back to the Easter eggs and the Easter bunny and the whole thing. If it's I know it's pagan. Again, if you use that side of things, if you use the Easter bunny, if you use the Easter eggs, and you think about where they came from, the great, trader, the great, reformer, I should say, Martin Luther, really started coming up with this stuff too. Going back, yeah, it was maybe before Christianity, but they were pagan, And again, it kind of goes down from year to year. So we kind of people have embraced those traditions, which has kind of become the pagan side of it. So again, the Easter part of it again is the resurrection of Jesus. That is the Easter part. That is the Christian part. The other stuff is just pagan junk that that kind of we have. And again, like I said, many of us have. All of us has kind of came into like, okay, well, this is just what we do every year. But again, that's not Easter. That's not Ishtar. That's not, people's like, oh, we'll get you with the eggs and money. We'll get you with Ishtar. Nope. Easter started Easter Sunday morning. It wasn't before, and hasn't started after it. It started when Jesus rose from the dead, only that first Easter Sunday morning. So, again, I'll leave show notes below. You can find them there. And again, just to wrap things up, I mean, that's how you know. Stay true to the faith, and again, this is just something that we Catholics made up, or Christians made up. This is, well, again, it goes back before Christianity. Well, that's that stuff. That's not Jesus rising from the dead. If you can say that Jesus rose from the dead back then, but that's not the case. So it's kind of like, again, well, gifts, that's pagan. The wise men brought gifts. Well, that's just kind of pagan custom. We always bring gifts to when you see people. Well, way back then, that's not Christmas. Christmas is Christ and Christmas. It's the first coming of Christ. So again, that's more of the church's stand on that. Again, Easter and Christmas, not pagan. So, at least right down the middle. So, until next time, folks, thank you again for this great episode of 150. Hopefully, I didn't stay too long. Again, William yourself, write us a reply, write us a message, what you thought of it, down in the show notes below. And we'll see you next week for 151. We have a great show with Dr. George on Leading with Love. It's kind of a good show. I think you will like that one. We'll see you next week. Stay in the sacrament, stay in the grace, and we'll see you next time on CTT.